All right, what's going on, guys? It's Fast Cars, Fast Money. It's just myself and Crazy Kev for this weekend. We got Texas. Really only two real races between the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series. The Cup guys have their All-Star race, which we'll dive into with another video as well. But specifically, we're going to be talking about the truck race today. So what we're doing is we are really looking at Charlotte, Kansas, and Las Vegas as kind of reference points for this year. Those are kind of the three tracks the Truck Series have run so far that are pretty similar to Texas. You got a Cup driver in the mix with Chase Elliott entering the field for the first time this year. It's probably going to be the way to go. But if you decide to play Chase Elliott and John Hunter Nemechek together, it leaves you with $68.25 left average salary, which is definitely doable. So we'll hop into some of the drivers that we like here and kind of give you our thoughts. But I guess we'll start with you, Kev, from Chase Elliott there down to Austin Hill. Who are you going after?
I think the pretty obvious choice here is going to be John Hunter Nemechek starting on the pole. He's just been pretty much dominating trucks this year, especially on the mile and a half. So, I don't really see a race where, or a race or where you're going to cash this week without him. He's probably going to dominate at least the first half of this race, if not the whole thing. And then next to him is going to be Chase Elliott. It's starting 22nd, so he's going to unless he has mechanical issues or wrecks out, there's no reason he's not going to finish top five. So you're going to dominate those PD points. And, I'm pretty sure last time he ran, if not the time before that, he won. So, he's going to be competing for the win. He's probably going to dominate the second half of this race. So without him and John Hunter, I think it's just going to be a hard day to make money.
Yeah, I think it's pretty obvious. Like Kev was saying, I still think John Hunter Nemechek's the best play. We've just seen the KBM trucks. They've literally have won every 1.5 mile track that we've run at so far this year. And I don't see any reason why that shouldn't continue this weekend. He's constantly in that truck. He starts on the pole position. He should easily just run away with the race. But like Kev was saying, Chase Elliott does have a lot of PD points baked into his starting position, and most likely will be up there competing with John Hunter Nemechek at some point in the race. The other guy I kind of like is maybe a pivot off of Elliott is Ross Chastain. He starts 24th, so he basically starts, right next to where Elliott does, but he's significantly cheaper than Chase Elliott, and I think that's an interesting way to get a little bit different from all the Chase Elliott, John Hunter Nemechek lineups that you're probably going to be see when you're competing with people. And then continuing on down from Zane Smith down to Stuart Friesen there. The two guys that I like are going to be Grant Enfinger and Matt Crafton. Now, if you're playing Elliott and Nemechek together, it might be a little difficult to get to this range, just depending on how low you really want to go. They're both in the Thor Sport trucks. They both start, kind of mid-pack there with the opportunity to kind of finish top 8 if everything kind of goes according to plan. So those are the two guys I like there. But what about you, Kev? Do you like anyone else besides those guys?
Yeah, I can agree with you with those guys. Like you said, if you're running Chase and John Hunter, it's going to be probably hard to get to them. But if you got Chastain in there, you might be able to get one of these guys. Another guy in this range that might be worth it low could be Friesen. Not going to offer you a lot of upside, but finishes in the top 10, he's going to be a pretty decent play for you today, and should be a little contrary to a lot of the other lines that are going to be running.
Yeah, Friesen I think, is an interesting GPP play. He was running top 10 in both Vegas and Charlotte, which, like I said, are two tracks that we're really looking at. And then it gets interesting because once you get to this 8K and 7K range, that's where, if you're paying up for those top guys, this is kind of the range where you have to get, some good value out of. So Josh Berry is in the, what truck number is that? 25. Yeah, the truck that Timothy Peters was driving and got booted from. So it'll be interesting to see if it was a Timothy Peters problem or an equipment problem. But Josh Berry starting 33rd, I think, should easily be able to move forward. The question is how far? Is that equipment going to limit his upside? So I would just be a little hesitant. I wouldn't go, all in with Josh Berry, just because if it is the equipment, that's really going to limit his upside there. And then I think Johnny Sauter and Tyler Ankrum are interesting plays. none of them are home runs, but they can both finish, about top 10 or maybe 8th to 10th if everything kind of goes their way. But those would probably be GPP only plays for me. But what about you, Kev?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just kind of the range where you're going to start to make your gravy this weekend. And then, so like you said, you kind of hit on those guys. I guess I'll hit on Tanner Gray and Brandon Poole. Both of them start a little farther back, offer you some PD, which if you got John Hunter and Chase, you're assuming they're going to dominate the race. So the rest of your line should just be focusing on that PD. Um, yeah, so, starting 20th, Tanner Gray should be able to hopefully finish within the top 15, move up there a little bit. It's not super expensive, be a decent play. And then Brandon Poole starting 27th offers you a decent amount of upside if you should be able to get into the top 20 hopefully, and maybe he can get into the higher top, or I guess lower 20s, and then maybe even squeeze in a top 15 or something could be a slam dunk play for you this week.
Yeah, the truck series, it gets tough because as soon as you get out of the kind of the top equipment plays, a lot of these back marker cars are tough to feel confident with your hard-earned money, betting on them. But for me, once I get down here, I think Chase Purdy again. He's going to draw a lot of ownership, and every single week we see him starting this deep in the field, and it's like, oh, he's in the same equipment as Sheldon Creed and Zane Smith. Like he should easily be able to finish top 15, and he should, but that never happened. So we're not too high on him just because I think there's going to be a lot of ownership on him, and it usually hasn't worked out. I think a more interesting GPP option pivot off of Purdy would be a Haley Deegan or even an Austin Wayne Self. Like I think people might be afraid to play them based upon where they're starting, but if you look at their finishes this year, they've been decent. Now they're probably going to finish around where they start if they have a good day, but that's what we want to do, is kind of play some of these risky GPP options and try to get that optimal lineup. If you just play Chase Purdy, it's the safe option, but it doesn't have as much upside as a Haley Deegan or an Austin Wayne Self. And then obviously I think Tyler Hill and Tate Fogelman there are going to be good plays. Like they start deep in the field. If they don't get into trouble, they should easily be able to finish, top 20-ish, 22nd, maybe something like that. And you're going to need some good value plays if you're plugging in Chase Elliott, John Hunter, Nemechek, Ross Chastain. Are there any punts that you like that you feel pretty confident about?
It's hard to feel confident about a punt, but yeah, I'd have to agree with you on Tyler Hill and Tate Fulgham. I mean, they offer the most upside of this group, and you're going to have one of them, probably both of them, if you're going to try to squeeze in John Hunter and Chase and be able to get a couple other kind of those mid-range guys. Just got to hope they stay clean. Everyone else around them wrecks out, which is inevitable. And hope for the best.
Yeah, so I think that's going to do it. I guess the other guy, if you really need to scrape the bottom of the barrel, I mean, Ray Cicerelli starts dead last, and we know how much this truck series likes to wreck. So if he can just maintain minimum speed and just clock laps off, like the trucks will eventually start wrecking out, and every time that happens, he'll continue to move forward. So if you need to go that low, that's who I would go with. But I'm going to try my best to have Fogelman there as my lowest price driver. But it's going to do it for the truck series. As always, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you want some of our final thoughts, because we'll be updating the spreadsheet once it gets closer to lock, hop over on Twitter. It's at FastCarsFM. And then drop any questions you have down in the comments below, or you can ask us over on Twitter. We'll make sure we get back to you. But other than that, it's going to be it, and we'll catch you on the Xfinity video.